Well, if you live in the regions, look out, because Labor says it'll be taking, the $10 billion of funding off you, rebalancing they call it, to deliver Labor's promises elsewhere. Fair enough. Not if you live outside a capital city, it isn't. Joining me now on the Monday panel, Keith Pitt, federal member for Hinkler, former Howard Government Minister, host of Hargrave, Gary Hargrave. Gentlemen, good evening. Keith, I tell you, once again, regional Australia, the cash cow for Labor.
Well, regional Australia is how our country pays its bills, Peter, and now they're going to get knifed by the Albanese Labor government. And you'll love this bit. We had Minister Plibersek last week saying dams are under an audit. Front page of the Oz to saying Paradise, Urana and Hell's Gate are gone. And then the hapless state member for Bundaberg today said it's okay because the state can just use their half, the $600 million to start the project, and we can get some money from federal Labor in a few years. Clearly doesn't know how federal funding works.
It is extraordinary. It is extraordinary. I mean, Gary, this is what people get so angry about in politics. The commitments of one government that are in the budget, regardless of whether you like them or not, should stand. And at the end of that time, if they don't want to renew it, fine. But what's been promised should be delivered.
And Peter, it's the nation-building areas of Australia, our regional areas, that are absolutely way underdone, as well as the outer suburbs. The outer suburbs miss out almost to the same sort of parlous circumstance of regional Australia. Look, Peter, there's no doubt about it. This is a government that is influenced by the knobs of the Greens who say things like, you don't need farmers because we've got Woolworths and Coles. So they have absolutely no idea about the vital areas of production that should come out of regional Australia. You put more water into any part of Australia, we can grow more food, we can grow a lot more stuff, export a lot more stuff. It's a just add water country, and that's just one aspect of it. No, regional Australia deserves every bit they've got. They shouldn't be fleeced.
Hey, Keith, are you surprised about this survey out today? 1,900 teachers across the country. It shows half of them get on YouTube and everything other than the Department of Education website to try and work out how to teach the curriculum. I mean, everyone wonders why on earth we're falling down the international rankings. Any wonder?
Oh, Peter, apparently teachers have become facilitators. They don't teach anymore. They just facilitate how kids get to learn things. The curriculum's just too full. It's full of social engineering, not real engineering. They're too busy teaching kids what to think, not how to think. And this is the results. I mean, we have something like a 50% loss of young apprentices into their second year because they can't pass what's required in terms of reading, writing and arithmetic. Now, something is clearly going wrong. Our teachers are out there working hard, but they're being let down because they're expected to be social engineers, not actual teachers.
Spot on, Gary. I mean, I grew up in the era where there was no computers, a very basic, rudimentary curriculum in the country, and the strap. I don't think any of that's in favour anymore.
No, none of it. You're going to be banned completely of even saying the word strap, Peter. But look, let's face it, if Wikipedia is your source, you've got a problem because you can change Wikipedia. You can go in and alter it. History can be altered. And, of course, that's what we're seeing all around the world now is that people want to alter history because it doesn't suit the current politics. And if they still studied George Orwell's 1984, they'd know that was the sort of way that they actually changed the way people think. Look, we are being controlled by nonsense, and kids need to, as Keith said, work out how to learn, not necessarily what they learn. They need to actually ask questions, and the teachers, they're going to have proper answers,
I tell you, if I could read my phone right now, my mother would be saying to me, and yes, Peter, if you got the strap, you would have deserved it. Let's go to this story in Victoria, Keith. Victorian public servants. Victorian public servants, they can retire now in 1 year, stay off for 12 months, then come back to virtually the same highly paid job. We know that 1,600 of them have done this in the past year. I presume this means they get all their payouts, etc., under an early retirement scheme. This smacks to me as a bit of a rort. You know, the Premier trying to buy votes from the public service come November.
Oh, Peter, what a deal. You can retire, get your entitlements, and then come back in a year and go back to work and get the same conditions. It's just a year's holiday from what I can see. And clearly they're worried about the politics and what it looks like, and they don't want to be called Campbell. And apologies to Campbell, I'm not trying to have a shot at him at all. This is what's happened in Queensland. We know how they framed the LNP up here when they were making reasonable decisions, to be honest, in a lot of cases. But clearly in Victoria, they still want the public service vote, and here's the gift.
If you want to fix a budget, Gary, I mean, you start with the public service.
Well, look, you would, particularly when it's grown by 60% under Daniel Andrews' watch. And, Peter, the worst part about it is they leave the gig because so many of them work from home. None of their colleagues actually realise they'd gone, and then they come back again. I mean, this is the problem. We have all of these public servants who are actually employed. I don't know what they do. They carry clipboards, iPads, taxpayer-funded iPads. They spent tens of millions of dollars at the pointy end of planes. That's one of the problems that we're seeing now. Also being reported here in Queensland, for instance. So we want public servants to do a great job, but we don't want them to actually have too many of them because we're all paying for it. Pretty simple, really.
And I might say to Victorians, never forget that in 6 minutes with a couple of text messages and no tender, they spent $30 million of your money on a failed and botched hotel quarantine system. Gary and Keith,
That's it.
thank you as always.
Dreadful.
Next week.